All right, welcome back. We just talked about how do we develop more margin in our last discussion. This one is going to be more about the second topic, mission. So as we think about the time hacks, where do we put some time in order to get our productivity, our engagement high, and make sure that we are inwardly sound? Really focusing some time and some intention around our purpose or our mission can make us extremely resilient. This idea really came from friends in Special Forces. There was a particular Navy SEAL. He was not a friend until I reached out, and he was very gracious with me many years ago. And he introduced me to this concept of a BHAG. He said, BHAGs are great, BHOWs are better. Now, I had heard of a BHAG. If you haven't, that's a big, hairy, audacious goal. It's an idea in the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, where he observed that companies that outperformed their markets, outperformed their relative competitors for periods of 15 years or more, they were standout companies. One of the things that characterized them is they had some sort of big, hairy, audacious goal, something they didn't even know how to accomplish. And yet, this Navy SEAL is saying, that's great, but you need a BHOW. It's even better. So I had to admit to him I didn't know what that was, and he actually was appreciative. He said, I didn't know if you'd asked me, but it's okay. I just made it up. It's called a big, hilarious, outrageous why. And he said, a BHAG will get you on a chopper. A BHOW will get you to lean into a firefight. Well, all of that was interesting, but I felt like I don't get on any choppers, and no one's trying to kill me. So how do I relate that to the business world? And he actually said, I don't know, but you need to figure it out. You need to figure out what you're willing to die for, and then nothing can stop you. So, kind of interesting. William Barclay has this famous quote, there are two great days in a person's life. The day you're born and the day we discover why. And if you want to know what that is, well, it's actually probably just beneath the surface. It is something that we want you to know, that if you just invest a little bit of time, you can get some insights into your unique and compelling why. We're going to touch on this a little bit now. I'm going to take you through at least one or two sample exercises that can hint at your why. If you really want to go all the way into this, it takes more time than this. We've actually developed a 4-hour, two-part session, so it's 2 hours on one day, 2 hours on the next, called Powered by Purpose. And that will take you through all of the lessons and all of the exercises necessary to understand and really dig into your why, as well as practice building a purpose statement. Now, why is this worth doing? Well, because it impacts every part of your work and life. This was a study that McKinsey published, and it said for people who are getting as much purpose as they want from their work, those are the light blue dot people, are experiencing improvements in every aspect of their work and every aspect of their life over people who are not getting as much purpose as they want from their work. That this is not just about helping you work better, it's going to improve your life. It's also worth noting that unfortunately, most people don't think they can get that unless they're in a position of senior management. So 85% of executives and upper management agree that they can live their purpose at work, whereas 85% of everybody else thinks this just can't be done. Not in their job, maybe not in their company, not from where they sit, maybe someday. I really want to encourage you. You can do this anywhere, in any job, wherever you sit. Let's actually try it, though. This is our baseline, is actually just to see where are we on the level of clarity of who we are and why we're here. Those are really the two operative questions that we're going to try to answer. So I want you to pause. I want you to do something super vulnerable and pair up. When you pair up, I want you to try to take maybe a minute or two to prep, but then introduce yourself to someone on your team. Not saying, hey, I'm Travis, my title is this, and here's what I do, but instead to say, hey, I'm Travis, and here's something that you should know about me. And here's something that reflects why I'm here. I want you to just pause. I know that's not terribly clear. Do your best. Give it a shot. It may be awkward, but just give it a shot. Okay, did you do it? You need to do it. So don't move forward unless you did it. All right, I'm trusting you did. How did that feel? Well, for most people, that feels pretty awkward. Oh, and I left out one of the instructions, and that was to do it in 20-second max. Don't ramble. It is so hard, but we find ourselves rambling because it's awkward, because we don't normally introduce ourselves to people this way. We normally say, here is my name, here is my title, here's what I do. Not what's unique about me and not why I do it. Well, want to help you there. But first, I want you to debrief a little bit on this exercise. Number one, how did finding enough purpose at work impact people's work and lives? What did you see in that McKinsey chart? What stood out to you? Why do you think frontline managers and employees felt they couldn't derive as much purpose as they wanted to from their work? And three is, was it harder to introduce yourself using your why because you didn't know what to say or because you didn't want to say it? Is it that you didn't know or that you didn't feel comfortable sharing? So pause here. Let's run through these three questions and then come back when you're ready. All right, welcome back. Let's actually talk about how we unpack this. Again, we're not going to go through all of it, but I want to at least give you the framework. And when we talk about purpose, we're talking about your purpose, not the organization's purpose. And I really believe you all have one. Why? Because you're all different. And there's got to be some reason behind that or some opportunity that it creates. And so if we look at how we're uniquely different, one is that we're wired uniquely. So are we looking at what we do best and most enjoy? Is that part of who we are and how we're actually showing up at work? Are we doing things that reflect our values, what we care about and stand for? And finally, are we working with passion? Maybe not the happy joy passion, but the thing that you've overcome, the thing that tells you I'm here to serve somebody who's going through something that I've been through and I've overcome, and I want them to experience more of something good. So this is kind of the model. All the exercises we do really dive into each of these circles so you can develop some confidence and say, I really understand how I'm wired. I understand what I do best and most enjoy. I understand what I believe and want to stand for, and I understand what I've been through and what I have to contribute. Now, why does this matter? Well, it turns out it should be important to companies because it influences engagement. Take a look at this study. This was published in the Leadership Challenge a number of years, over 10 years ago, 2007. And the finding was that the commitment to the organization actually goes up when people get clearer on their personal values. So some of you may have seen this during your orientation in our Culture and Action session. We all teach this to all of our new hires now because it's so compelling. Now, this is on a scale of 0 to 7. And it says, how committed are you to the organization? Well, if I get clear on the organization's values, but I'm not clear on my own, I stay stuck somewhere around a 5. However, if I can get clear on my own values, whether I'm clear on the organization's or not, even in the worst case scenario, I get about a 25% jump. I get over a 30% jump if I get clear on both. What do I value and what does the organization value? Be curious to hear your thoughts on why you think this is. We'll come back to that in just a second. But at first, I want you to actually do it. So here is a list of words or values. Pause, take 90 seconds, 2 minutes max, and try to identify what are 10 words that stand out to you. They just speak to you. They are things that you identify with. And if for whatever reason you have a word that's not on this list, that's fine. Write it down instead. The idea is to help you stir some ideas of what do you value most. Once you've done that for about 2 minutes, take about 30 seconds and cut the list in half. Then take 20, 30 seconds and identify what are the top 3 things I stand for most. All right, do that now. Okay, welcome back. If you did that, what I hope you have then is this list of 3 things I want to be known for. And it might be convicting, but I would ask, could you be tried and found guilty of those 3 things? Are those the 3 things that other people think or say when your name comes to mind? We use that exercise when we do personal branding. It's very powerful. It can be compelling, can be convicting, but what are the 3 words that people think of when they think of your name? And are they the ones that you want? How could you better align your life to what you stand for? So here's your group discussion on this topic. First of all, what did you decide and put in the top spot? What was the most important value to you? How could you live this out in your work and life? And what value was hardest to take off your list? If you went from 80 to 10 to 5 to 3, something had to go, and there may have been one of those things that was really tough for you to take off the list. Curious, what was it? How did you decide to take it off? All right, have a discussion around those 3 things, and then we will wrap up. Okay, if this was hard for you, my final parting thoughts on this does take work. In very, very short order, less than 5 minutes, you can usually get some clarity around what values you have. It may take you a little while to really hone in on the right words, the right order. The other thing I would tell you is you don't actually have to get rid of any of your values. You can have more than 3, and that's totally fine. It's just you'll never get known for more than 3. That is really the challenge. I mean, think about company brands. Think about products you use. How many of them do you think of 10 things that you love about them? Maybe that exists. Maybe you come up with 10 things you could think about your favorite pizza or an Apple computer or your watch or your car or something. But for the most part, brands are typically about 1 to 3 things. And if you really want to have influence, if you want to lean in and make a dent in the universe, we need to get you focused on what are 1 to 3 things that you value most. All right, this is just one of the exercises in the Powered by Purpose class. If this interests you, if you'd like to take it further, you want to really dig into the talents, the values, and the passion circles, and you want to hone a purpose statement that you could actually know, recite, and live by, then I hope you will join that class. We're offering it at least twice in the year ahead. Thanks a lot.